It is TJ Houshmandzadeh. TJ, appreciate the time. How are you? Thanks for joining us, man.
I'm good, man. How are you guys? I'm actually now an adopted LSU alum because of my kids.
So I want to start there because I know I've seen you at LSU games, like on the field before a game. So what's it been like being, a California guy, went to Oregon State, and now you have your daughter Karrington's playing softball at LSU. Like, what's it like being part of the LSU culture now?
Personally, I enjoy it. My wife, her entire family is from New Orleans. They're all Creole.
Got it.
So somewhat familiar with it prior to getting acclimated to Baton Rouge. But me personally, I love it. I love football, and it gets no better than LSU, obviously, from this year. But I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of sports. And so when they decided they wanted to go to LSU, I was all for it.
So Karrington is a sophomore, and your second daughter is coming next year, correct?
Yeah, she'll be there next fall, man. We got about 6 months left with her.
So, are you and your wife not freaking out by the fact that you're in California and your kids are in Louisiana? That's a stretch, right? It's like, babe, you don't want to go to UCLA? Don't get me wrong, I love Beth Tarina to death. But is that not weird for your family?
And that's why they're at LSU.
Is Beth?
If any kid took a trip to LSU, they wouldn't go to any other school. Once you get to meet Beth and you walk around and you talk to her, she's so genuine. She really cares about the players. And a lot of coaches say they care, but she'll show you that she cares. And take a trip to Baton Rouge if you play softball. You're not going anywhere else.
TJ, I'm completely biased. Beth is literally my favorite coach on LSU's campus, any sport. So
she's a nice person. She genuinely cares about the girls, and so for me, it doesn't worry. You anytime you have kids leave the house, you're concerned. But if you teach them as they're growing up, you have no problems. As long as I don't get no knucklehead up there at Baton Rouge that think they're gonna disrespect my kid, because I still work out, so I'm ready for anything.
I think most everybody would believe you. Give me some thoughts on your first Tiger Stadium experience, though.
Oh, it was unbelievable, man. I believe the first game, I believe it was Auburn when Justin Jefferson took a punt return. No, was it DJ Shark?
It was DJ Shark. It was Shark in 2017, yep.
He returned that punt. That was like our first experience with the football game, just the environment, the atmosphere, the crowd. Coach Joe has always been very welcoming of me around the football players in the facility. And so, like I say, I'm really like an LSU alum. Like, I walk around out here with nothing but LSU stuff on. People think I went to LSU for real.
Do any Oregon State people give you flack?
They know better. No.
I love it. TJ Houshmandzadeh is our guest. When I know Joe Burrow is going to work with you out in California with you and Jordan Palmer, how did that relationship start?
Well, it's really me and Jordan decided early on in the fall that we were going to work together. I had been training receivers and tight ends for a couple years, getting them ready for the draft. He obviously was training quarterbacks, and so we would link up, and his quarterbacks would throw to my guys. And he just heard some of the stuff I would be talking about as I was training him and vice versa. And we was like, hey, man, let's just get together and do this. And so we decided early in the fall we were. And he and I didn't know he was going to start working with Joe. It just so happened that my daughter was an LSU softball player. Joe played football there. They had a great year. Jordan was going to train. It was just kind of weird how everything worked itself out.
So, but when did you all connect with Joe to get him out to California?
I believe Joe has come to some of Jordan's quarterback summits. Quite ironically, yesterday was the first day that Joe was out. Don't know him very well. I'm sure I'll get to know him. I'm not a guy. I'm not gonna just put myself on him. It'll be organic. It will happen naturally. But I was one of the guys early in September. Once they beat Texas, I was telling everybody on Fox Sports, like, listen, man, this Joe Burrow dude is going to surprise people. I'm telling you, his pocket presence, his anticipation, everything about him, I was told as soon as they started to play this year, and, he made me look like a genius.
So you had those observations during the Texas game. Do you remember having any awareness of Joe in 2018, that 2018 season?
No. I mean, obvious. Like I said, I follow football.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of football, college and professional, and so I knew he had transferred from Ohio State. I knew he hadn't started a game since high school. You just saw in 2018 that you saw a kid that hadn't played since high school. It was going to take him some time to kind of get back on the bike and feel comfortable, so to speak. Once he did that, that the way they played, the way they finished up in the bowl game in the 2018 season with the athletes that LSU has every year, it was only a matter of time. And Joe took it to another level. But you got to give those receivers credit, that offensive line credit. Edwards Hilaire, that's my wife's favorite player. That dude's a dog. He's an animal. Like, he's so good, but you kind of don't pay attention to him because of Joe and the receivers, that you forget that Clyde, he's a dog back there.
TJ Houshmandzadeh is our guest. I love Clyde, too. I'm impossibly biased. He went to my high school, and most people around here hate me saying it, but I always yell, Cali High! I'm talking about Clyde, so I'm good with it.
That dude is good.
He is good, man. His first ever touch as like a 14-year-old playing varsity, he housed a punt return. I mean, he's always had it. What are you going to work on? What does Joe Burrow need to work on between now and the draft?
That will be that part of it. The football part of it, that will be Jordan. What Jordan does is really good at getting guys prepared. I'll give him some nuggets here and there from a receiver's perspective. But what we do is we're going to teach him the game of football from an NFL perspective, protection. He's going to know what every guy is supposed to do on every defensive cover 4. He's going to know what everybody's responsibility, cover 2, cover 6, 2-man, you know everybody's responsibility on the defense. It makes your job a lot easier. How to learn an NFL playbook. How just to learn a playbook, period. Like, if you're going to go and you want to prepare salmon and you want it a certain way, and are you going to go in a cookbook and just go to the first page, or are you going to go strictly to that page about salmon? So we're going to teach him how to navigate through a playbook without being overwhelmed. And so those are things that, like I said, will come over time. I think Joe's great. I think he's going to have a great career. I was standing in college while he was playing, and the fact that I'll be around him will probably only reinforce what I've already said.
Couple more minutes with TJ Houshmandzadeh, Jordan Palmer, and he'll be working with Joe Burrow out in California leading up to the Combine and the draft. I know you had some comments about it. What's been your reaction to this whole conversation about Joe potentially the Cincinnati question? Does he really want to be there, and how all that's manifest over the past couple weeks?
That's a decision that Joe, his parents, his representation, they'll figure that out. Obviously, Cincinnati gave me my start. I want to see them do well. But if Joe and his people feel like it's not the best situation, that's what they decide. And if the Bengals feel like we're drafting them regardless, okay. If we're going to trade and get picks, okay. For me, I don't know Joe. I will get to know him. I just want what's best for him and his family. I want him to succeed. He's a young guy coming into an NFL, which is a lot of our dreams when you're younger and you start playing. And when you start where he started from, he didn't play at Ohio State, man. He had to transfer to LSU to get a chance. And to be in the situation that he's in, which is probably the consensus number 1 pick, for him it's a blessing. Don't make it more than what it is. You're going to get paid a lot of money to play football, whether that's in Cincinnati or somewhere else. His family and his representation, they'll decide that. But whatever he decides to do, man, I'm just glad I can be a part of it, and it's going to be such a small part that I wish him the best.
Man, there's like a million things I could ask. This conversation's fascinating. I'm not going to keep you too much longer, though. But specific from a guy who spent more than a decade, right at a decade in the NFL, how would that be perceived in locker rooms if a guy, Joe Burrow or anybody, decided to try to force a team's hand in the draft?
Honestly, Eli Manning did it. What happened with that? Nothing ever happened.
Right. So is it more common, TJ, than we know, that's just like a high-profile thing?
I wouldn't say it's common. What I will say is guys understand. If you're on the Bengals team and Joe doesn't want to play there, you might take offense to it. Like, why did he? But that's his preference. That's his choice. I don't know, Joe. I don't know if he's going to do that. it won't come from me. I'm not gonna say anything negative to the Bengals about Joe because I don't want if they draft him, I don't want his opinion to be something that I formed. And so, guys will take offense to it, I'm certain. But man, you get over that real quick, man. I'm sure the Chargers took offense to Eli not wanting to play, and once the game starts, it is what it is. But I don't know, man. It will be interesting. That subject will. He's come out and his dad has come out and said they have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it's a moot point.
Do you believe, having played 8 seasons in Cincinnati, that that's an organization committed to winning?
Me personally, I think every organization is committed to winning, some more than others. When I was in Cincinnati, I thought wholeheartedly we were committed to winning. Now, when you look back on things, you question certain things, but I'm not in those meetings. I don't know what's being said. I don't think anybody that owns any team goes into it saying we want to lose. Some might put more resources in it than others, and so your commitment level to winning might be a little higher or lower, but I think every team is committed to winning.
TJ, before I let you go, how many times in interviews do you get asked about the NFL fantasy football commercial?
TJ, how's vanilla?
All the time, man. All the time, but I'm cool with it. I've been dealing with the pronunciation of my name. I've dealt with since grade school, so I'm so used to it. You're in class and they go Hernandez, Henry, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm coming up, and they pause, and I'm like, oh, that's me, because they just look and they get stuck. So yeah, I've been used to that my whole life, man.
So my last name is Moscona. It's not Houshmandzadeh, but it's Moscona with a lot of vowels. And it is a cold day in you-know-where when somebody nails it the first time. So I can absolutely empathize to a certain degree. But the first time you saw or heard the commercials, please tell me you at least laughed at it.
I was in training camp. Oh, I did laugh. I didn't take it personal. I thought it was pretty damn funny, to be honest with you. So yeah, I laughed like I'm sure a lot of other people have as well. Yeah, no problem with me. I wasn't like, oh, man, I thought it was funny.
Dude, hopefully we see you in Oklahoma City in a few months, man.
Man, you're going to see me out in Baton Rouge here soon, man. So, yeah, y'all be seeing a lot more of myself and my family.
We look forward to it, man. Can't thank you enough for a couple of minutes today. Thanks for joining us, for some insight, for having some fun, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. You guys have a good day, man. Good show.